for you! Welcome back, I'm Captain Xavier, and I am a shameless fan of getting free stuff. I have often said that if you send me free stuff, I will do a review on it. Well, NFStrike sent me this, the Worker 3D printed Wasteland Ranger pistol. So I'm gonna do a review on it. So this thing, as the name suggests, is almost entirely 3D printed, other than the screws and the catch mechanism. It appears to be entirely 3D printed. As you can see, it is break action. Pull that to release it, and then it comes with a shell that has worker printed on it that holds a single dart. Close it. This catch is printed with the grain, so there's a good chance that's eventually going to break, but you don't actually need to remove the shell to prime it. If you had a whole bunch of them, you could prime them all ahead of time, though the darts would probably fall out. But as you can see, there is a ramrod in the handle that's held in with magnets, which is really slick. I suppose the magnets and the ramrod itself aren't 3D printed, which is good, because that's the sort of thing that would break. But you use that to then prime the shell. It just pushes back until it catches. You then load in a dart. You can load half darts and ram them in, or load 2 half darts and shotgun it, whatever you want to do. There's then a button on the back that releases it, which is what gets pushed when you push the trigger. But you can prime it with the blaster loaded, or the shell loaded anyway. And yeah, then you pull the trigger and it fires such as it does. So there's that. Let's take a look at some of the mechanisms. So it's all, as far as I know, rubber band powered, which is unusual. It doesn't have a plunger system as such. It has a little sled, which is also injection molded as, like I said, part of the catch mechanism. So it's not 3D printed because it's got a lot of stress on it. But it is just rubber band powered. It's got rubber bands on either side, and it just catapults the dart out, which is strange. But that's how they decided to do it. And then the catch mechanism, in the back end of the cap, there is a catch that is released when you push the button, is also injection molded, and it is usually held on with rubber bands. I have replaced it with O-rings from dead blasters because I have increased the spring load, and no amount of rubber bands that I could put on there was sufficient to have it catch. So I put in old Nerf O-rings that I had in a bin, and they were sufficient for me to be able to double the rubber band load. So it usually just has one large rubber band doubled up. I was able to put 2 additional smaller rubber bands, which is what the catch rubber bands were, on there as well, and get it to still catch. How long it'll last? No idea. I doubt particularly long. But we are going to test it with the chronograph that I was sent, so we can see what kind of numbers we can get out of this thing modified, and then I will slowly unmodify it, and we'll compare the numbers. Alright, so this is the double spring load, and we're shooting a full-sized Accu fake, and it's coming in at 53, which is about stock elite, which isn't bad, really, as far as, you know, basic performance. Obviously, the amount of time it takes to prime and load is atrocious, but this is a half dart. It came in at 50.8. And last but not least, I'm going to shoot 2 half darts. Let's see what happens. I don't know that the chronograph is going to like this, but we're going to try it anyway. Yeah, it didn't like that. It came in at 166, which is obviously a false reading. So, it didn't like me firing 2 at once, which doesn't surprise me. So, I'm going to fire one more with a different ammo type. We'll go with one of the dome tips, because they are, I think, heavier. Well, it still came in at 53. So full-length darts come in around 53, which is not... It's way better than this thing has any business being. But if you don't have the O-rings necessary to upgrade the catch, or you can't find a way to upgrade the catch, we'll take a look at the stock numbers. So it is really easy to upgrade it. It just threads apart. So that's neat. So with the stock 2 rubber bands, it gets 40. I don't know if you can see that. 40. Let's try another one. $41.3. So yeah, doubling the spring load increased the performance by 25%, which isn't terrible. And at 50 FPS and it being fairly accurate as far as I can tell, as you can hear, it's raining, and as you can also hear, I'm currently dying of pneumonia, so I'm not going outside to fire this to give you any kind of range ideas, but it's not going to have nearly enough power to fishtail or anything like that, so it would probably be relatively accurate. Sure, it still works. Still catches. Fire a nice men gun out of here. That one seems a little bit tighter. We'll see if that's good or bad. Bad, apparently. That one came in at 44.6. Anyway. Yeah, it's weird, it's gimmicky, it's ergonomically horrific. This trigger well is comically and uncomfortably large because my finger wants to be right where that is. I could put them both in here. I could go one above, one below. I could go like that and be flipping everyone off. Yeah, so that's not great. They don't appear to have other shells. I mean, if they came with a shell that fired Mega or Rival, I don't think you'd get much out of Rival, but other people have considered, well, could you put CO2 in it? And probably there's any number of things you could do with it. The downside is, if it were, you know, $15, I might say that this could be a fun little blaster. But it prices at like $50. And I really don't know what niche they thought this was filling. What outcry in the Nerf community needed this thing? I have no idea. Now that I have one, what will I use it for? I'm really tempted to use it as a MacGuffin in HVZ, where you must first acquire, you have to acquire the 3 parts: the blaster, the ramrod, and the shell, and it's a signaling device, basically a flare gun, because that is what it looks to the world like. And then you have to use it to signal the chopper that then starts the timer for the last stand, where the humans have, okay, 5 minutes before the chopper lands, and then the humans are all safe. But other than that, I mean, I can't really imagine running this because the darts fall out of the barrel. It's got atrocious range. The reload is just, yeah, slow and cumbersome. But I like silly things. I like that it's basically kind of like, you know, an old cap and ball or flintlock pistol. I think that this is a neat gimmick. I think that this is a neat concept. It's just the combination of it all doesn't have the performance to really justify the price, in my opinion. But if you're looking for something like this, if you needed something like this in your life, it exists, and you can get it up to 50 FPS, so it can compete against stock blasters if you're doing an all-stock pistol round. You could definitely argue that this is stock performance and isn't going to hurt anybody, but the price is just a little bit steep, in my opinion. So, there you have it. The Worker 3D printed Wasteland Ranger pistol. Thank you for watching.